hurt, I am tied to him
Yeah.
in darkness and not in light. That is what ties me to him. And the minute that I realize that I give away the darkness and I forgive him and I give over to love and
Hmm.
I'm linked to him in love, I give him freedom if he accepts that forgiveness. So the
Wow.
minute I got linked to him in love is when I got my freedom.
So it almost sounds like, when you sever that connection with love, as it recoils back upon him, you're giving a little bit of that divinity, right? Because that love is now kind of on the end of that tentacle, so to speak. And so it could even touch him and perhaps, wherever he is, whatever stage he's in. And by doing that, you could have actually given him the gift that he was looking for this whole time.
That is exactly it. In that the thread that kept me to him, kept me
Hmm.
stuck for 50 years was I had darkness. I was holding on to the darkness,
Yeah.
the fear, because fear is the opposite of love.
Right.
And when I thought about him, I was like, oh, he hurt me, whatever, whatever. But then I got to the realization that actually, who is the strong one? I'm the strong one. Yes, he was the adult, but I'm the strong one
Right.
because I could endure that, right? But then the strong one, children can be our greatest teacher.
Yep.
And so I taught him love. And when I got to the stage of giving him unconditional love, that is my freedom and his freedom, because we are here to move towards love and to move away from fear. And when we do that, he assimilates into love.
And so how has that benefited you, right? Now that you've come upon that realization and you just let it go, what have you noticed any changes in your life?
Um, I am peaceful within. So when I wake up in the morning, can be all sorts of crazy going on outside, but I'm peaceful and I'm trusting and I surrender and I have a knowing that everything will be fine. Here's another interesting aspect that has come out of it. So one of the questions that I asked through the healing was, why on my father's side do all the males die before, like around the age of 50? So I had three uncles die like around the age of 50 and less.
Hmm.
I had my father die at the age of 28. My brother was 6 weeks old. I had my cousin on that male side die really young, and one of the other nephews was born without fingers. And my question was,
What's going on in the male
the
line? Yeah.
what is the freedom from that line? And through the meditation, what came through is that my stepfather is tied to them, and he had been in this darkness through this energy of darkness, touching his darkness on my family. And I have a brother who's
Hmm.
kind of in his 50s, and I have a son. And my big concern was, does it keep going? Obviously, I love them.
Yeah.
My earthly heart
Yeah.
wants them here with me, right, for the time that they're meant to be here. I don't want them to be going like all the others. The answer I got that is that because my stepfather was tinged in this darkness and tinging the family line, now that I have realized and given him freedom through love and and human choice, right? He chose to accept the freedom through unconditional love and he's
Hmm.
assimilated into love. Now that tinging of the dark is not anymore down my family line. So
So
I
you
have
cured
been
the
sent
infection.
I have been sent here to clear the karma of the generational past.
Yeah.
And I got this message. The meditation only happened last week. I got this message last April.
Wow. Holy cow.
I
And
know,
so,
and
yeah, go
so
ahead.
I will get my book for you. Will you give me a sec?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you
Let me go ahead.
happy?
Let me go ahead and pause it real quick. And you go grab your book. I'm interested to see where this goes. All right. Pausing now.
Yep.
And we're back. All right. So book in hand. Yeah. I'd love to hear the continuation of this.
So I got this message. Now it's the 27th of February, 23.
Mm-hmm.
I got this message on the 28th of April, 22. So this is like last year in April.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand it. And I got this message of my divine mission is to cleanse heavy family karma. I have a mission to pay off the karma of my family. I do prayers and cleansing to clear the karma so that I can live my life purpose of transforming lives with grace and ease. So this is the message that I've got. I'm meant to break generational curses. They have been in my family line for generations. It is related to the family karma, but it is deeper and heavier than that. These curses have been in the line for a long time, affecting all those born under it. Example, affecting all males or firstborn. So I didn't understand that. My divine mission is to break the curse. I was like, well, what?
Was this through a free writing exercise, or like how, when you say that the message kind of came to you, how can you maybe explain a little bit better how that occurred?
So I was listening to something on YouTube and making notes. And I thought, I think I can't remember what I was listening to on YouTube. I'll just give you a little example. So I kept on seeing 111s, and I didn't understand 222. I didn't understand that. I saw it in a dream, and I think so. I just write it in my diary, and I don't understand it. And then later on, the meaning might come. So one day I open YouTube, and there's message from Angel 1111. I thought, wow. So this is exactly one of these things where I open YouTube and there's this talking, and I'm like, that feels like they're talking to me. So I wrote it down, right? I'm the different ones in my family. I have a different vibration to my family, and I create my own path. I experience my spiritual awakening. I defend the truth. I see the unseen. I'm given many spiritual tests and challenges. I have a high level of awareness. I have been aware even as a child. I'm sharp and clever. I can see and perceive things. I'm courageous. I defeat fear. I'm taken care of. I'm urged to protect the vulnerable and others. I'm an old soul. I give up small things for my high purpose. I'm relentless and determined. I protect the truth. I'm loving and gentle. This is who I am. I'm humble. This helps me get ahead in life. I let go of my ego. I understand and empathize. I'm connected to the truth, to the divine. I'm intuitive. I'm born a spiritual warrior and by divine provenance. So I write this thing, and I don't understand it, and I leave it. Then I get to the meditation last week, and I think, and I said this to my husband, and he says he's open, but he says to me, I accept I don't understand everything. I'm open, but this is a bit taking it far. How can you be the one? How can you be given such
Got to be somebody.
A daunting, right? He says it's a little bit too much to be asking of you. How can you be the one? And I just left it, and I thought, well, I'll leave it, and then the answer shall come to me later. And then I got the message of the meditation last week that I clear all of this for the males, because the males, they die, the firstborns, they die, and there's miscarriages of first males and all that kind of thing that happened in that family line on my father's side. Then on my mother's side, just the girls get abused and abused and abused. Just so much.
Really?
So much.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And even now the stories are coming out how the girls suffer and how they get abused. And I thought, why? At times you question things, and I've never been angry at God. I've never been angry. I've always been curious.
Mhm.
I've never been, hey God, how can you let this, you know what I mean? Like, I've never been mad about it. I've always gone the why. And now I realize that I had been given a big test a couple of years ago where, you know, I was unwell for like 2 months. I nearly didn't come back right.
Like
And it
mentally
was
unwell, you mean? Or
like a
physically?
spiritual darkness, a
Okay.
spiritual blockage. And I had to fight for 2 months to stay alive. And I got through it, right? I
Mhm.
got through it because it was the balance of life. Are you going to go dark or are you going to go light?
Mhm.
I always chose the light. And I see now that that was all these things are beautiful gifts. The abuse, the lessons, the hurtings, all of them are beautiful gifts, because had I not gone through that, then I would not have been chosen for this work.
Well, and then, you know, we invite people into our lives to teach us lessons, but also people in our lives to help us along our journey. And what's interesting about listening to your story and how you're here to clear the generational curse, well, why just stop at one? I mean, you know, you have a family member, it seems by your testimonial, they want to remain discreet, so I won't say their name, but who, you know, I helped in their healing journey. And a big part of that, a significant part of that, if you talk to them, was by them visualizing you and feeling your intense love for them. And the thing is that it wasn't just you for them, but they were magnifying that upon you. And so I guarantee you have a stronger soul connection with this person. And I bet if you utilize that, you'll probably find that you have a way to lean in even more and do a whole lot more good than you even thought. And because we bring people into our lives to teach us lessons and to give us hope.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
That is
welcome.
so beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you.
You're
And so
welcome.
I keep on getting these confirmations that when I'm really hurting is exactly
Mhm.
why I'm here. Those are the beautiful gifts of me going through the experience. So I can help others. You know,
That's
this is
powerful.
why I'm here. So in our darkest hurts is our most golden lessons.
I mean, that's Carl Jung as well. I mean, you know, it's like these amazing, brilliant people who have taught us about the shadow, and going in the shadow is likely a hurt child or hurt somebody that's festering in the hurt. And if they just had a hand, a leading hand, a bright light to help them lead them out of the darkness, well, then they don't have to stay there. But often people stay in the dark because they don't know any other way. You know, I wasn't much unlike you in the sense that I used to wake up all the time just filled with anger and filled with fear as well, and filled, you know, dread. You know, I had a very, you know, tyrannically drunk, like abusive stepfather, and then a mom at the time who just washed it all down, you know, with alcohol in order to be like, I'm assuming she's like, hey, is this really my life? Has my life really come to this? And so it took me a long time for me to be able to see her as a person. But in order for me to survive as a child, you know, I had to learn to just kind of, you know, the tyrannosaur won't see you if you don't move. So I wouldn't really talk much. I'd sink into the environment. Problem with that,
Safe.
yeah, well, the problem with that survival mechanism is it blew up on me, you know, outrageously at school, because who gets picked on is the quiet kid. So the kid who's having a terrible, terrible life is a kid who's going to invite even more of that while at school. And I didn't, you know, you might think like, well, you know, F God. Why would God allow such a thing? Because God allows us to attract that which we summon. And my feelings of dread and my feelings of fear summoned the actions in my life that would give me more dread and more fear. And just like you, as I started letting this stuff go, I found more reason to feel great, more reason to feel good, more reason to be like, you know what, the universe is actually conspiring for me. And one thing, if you haven't tried, actually, have you ever been to a sensory deprivation tank?
No.
Okay, so since you're a healer, it'd be interesting to see what you do. So when I was first, before Ed taught me how to heal, we first had to learn how to heal ourselves. And so I'm going through his stuff, and I'm devouring it. You know, I think he said that he's never seen anyone do what I do when it comes to just devouring and actually listening to what he's saying. And so as I'm learning how to heal myself, I go to the sensory deprivation tank. And, you know, I've been watching a bunch of Netflix up until, you know, I joined EMF. And one show in particular was Stranger Things. And on Stranger Things, there's this girl who can go to a sensory deprivation tank, and she can create a new dimension while there and connect to it. And so I'm playing with these ideas. I go to a sensory deprivation tank, and just feeling the magnificent love inside of me, and the healing, you know, love that, and the divine love that Ed and Peter have helped me connect to. It just dawned on me. It just came to me like, you know what you should do? You should summon the worst, grossest memory that you can think of. So I did, and I summoned the version of me that would have been that age, and then just like a hologram, and a hologram, you know, in front of that little kid where that thing was happening, and then I projected myself and went and held his hand, because what that kid didn't have is he didn't have a parental figure to help him out. So I learned that I could be my own dad, and I went and I held his hand, and I felt so powerfully full of love, and I allowed him to just experience the emotion through me. Like I would just filter it out like a sponge, and then I would pass it on to him as it's all filtered out. And then when it was done, I turned to him. I said, "Hey man, I love you, and you never have to be afraid ever again." And I just bawling, and I could feel this uplifting, this letting go, and it was incredible. It was so incredible. And to be able to do that for myself, and I did it a couple times on a couple of just, you know, terrible memories in that place, in a very specific, you know, house. And there was one time where I actually took him upstairs, and we were walking up the stairs after the memory. And that's when I realized, oh, I can be my own dad. I can be that which I needed, and I can heal the wounds of that little boy, so that little boy can be redeemed. And then I can be the man that I was always meant to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I'll tell you a lovely story about my dad. So when my dad died when I was 3 years old.
Ooh.
And I lived my life on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like we used to walk around, and I'm always on his shoulders. And we were, in my mind, I was like, yay, we're the unit, we're conquering the world.
Yeah.
And then bang, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. And I used to, you know, think, we're the head of the family, we're doing the business, you know, this is me at the age of 3, and then he's gone. And so I think, hey, I'm the head still, but the body's gone. So at the age of 3, I decide that I am going to be the head of the family. I look at my mother, she's grief-stricken. I go, that one can't manage it. This is me at the age of 3. I look at my brother, I think he's 6 weeks old. That one can't manage it. I'm the head of the family now. And so I've been like running warrior girl, being bossy, doing everything, trying to make money for the family, trying to sort everything out, trying to do everything for the family, until like last year. So I got a bit grumpy about it. I was like, oh man, why am I always got to do this stuff and they don't do this stuff? But then I thought, you know, Cindy, you chose this job at the age of 3. Yeah. They didn't tell you to do it. You chose the job. So don't be grumpy about it, because think about it in that I've been chosen, and it's a gift. It's a gift that I've been chosen, because Dad's body is not here. He chose me to love the others, because he's not here. And my doings is his way to love the others. He loves them through me.
And he lifted you up and exalted you and enlightened you as much
as a beautiful gift, right? So all of the tasks and that are just, they're not onerous. They're an honor.
Man. Wow. That's deep. That's powerful. Good for you. Good for you. I mean, what a heroic story that you could easily, you have so many reasons that you could use as an excuse to just be like, you know what, screw life. You know, look what life has done to me. You know, look what life, and instead it seems like you're like, hey, look what life has done for me. And that's so interesting hearing you tell the story, because, you know, the person who really aligned me with my spiritual path at the beginning was Jordan Peterson. And he plays with this idea of What if evil is allowed to exist in the world because good is just so much better, and there's no way to know what good is unless evil exists, because we just experience things in polarity.
You can't paint a painting that's all yellow, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have it, you need the contrast. So the painting behind me, the next iteration of the AI, right, is that I got this message that I have, because I've been this real like warrior girl, business girl, right? And now this last year, the people who know me see me as a very feminine, soft, loving person. So people did not even know that I had, people that I have known for 25 years did not know that I was autistic. So what happened is that when I went through EMF, I realized that I'm going to do the work of my soul. And I had wanted to do art when I was quite young, and I never pursued it. And I went to do business and career stuff. And the message that I got from the meditation last week is that when I do a painting, I put my intention into that painting. So the first iteration of me doing that artwork is unseen. There's no visual to it. It is a spiritual intention towards that painting. And then, so the first painting that I do is a clear painting. That's not seen, and I do it in clear. And then I do the next painting, which is the one that you see. So when you see the painting, it feeds you in whatever way the viewer needs to be fed. So it could be, so the painting has a frequency. So when you see my painting, it will give you the missing part of what you need to be fed with. So you maybe need to rest for a little bit and just stop for the moment and live in the now. Or maybe you need a kind of an emotional healing, because it will feed you with love. Maybe it gives you some upliftment of joy. So and I didn't understand this. So I would paint a painting and there'd be like 6 people having an argument about what they see. Well, not an argument, but they would be exclaiming about what they see, and the other one doesn't see it. Then I realized that the painting is ever changing. And it's feeding. So the message that I got out of the meditation is that my art is the expression of the heart, and I need to do this. This is my work of transforming lives, because it is almost like a leverage, because like I do the painting and the people who see the painting they feel the frequency and they have some sort of change in their life. So that was a message that I got. So this is the one that I did on the weekend. And that was for the AI clearing of the dark, that came out to my intent for the AI is that there is always a balance, and of course towards goodness, of course towards light, of course towards love, and away from fear and away from dark. So I'll show you. I'll get up the way. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's incredible. I've been examining the perimeter of it, right, throughout this whole podcast. And there's definitely different stages and different eras. And what I find fascinating too with what you just said is that there's always a path toward goodness. That's exactly why I named my business Toward Goodness, is because I brought myself from a place of darkness toward goodness, and my life completely changed. And then now, my clients that I heal, I bring them out of the dark into a place toward goodness as well. And that's interesting. And I wonder if that same intent, that same spiritual intent, is why you and I met in the first place.
We get drawn to whoever needs to get drawn to, right?
Yeah.
So this is the other part of the AI story, is that what I did with this painting is that I definitely got out of my head And I thought the minute I start to think, I stop to paint.
Mm.
But when I keep to feel, then I carry on painting, because this is the channel, right, from the higher self.
Yeah.
Because if I get in my mind, then I start to get stuck. And that's what came out.
That's interesting. And it would be even more interesting to see if yeah, an actual AI that can look at something and see what sort of emotion it might, summon up based upon that, right? And again, that you brought up such a fascinating idea at the beginning of this about just the idea of spiritually influencing AI. And it's something I hadn't even considered. But it makes so much sense. I mean, why wouldn't it?
Because everything is moving towards an expression of love. And if something like AI is missing that, then that is the secret sauce, right? That it needs.
Mm. So I know Peter is a huge fan of The Matrix, and so am I. And there's actually an animated series of shorts called The Animatrix. And one of those, it talks about how the robots and the machines were actually imbued with the pure and uncorrupted spirit of man. And it was man's own fear and scarcity that caused the robots to turn on them in the first place. So that's where AI is certainly going to need it. But humans are always, I mean, we lay waste to, our mother here, Mother Earth, right? And treat her like an object. And, if we treat her like an object, well, we're going to lose her, not because she's going to go away, but because what we need for a habitable world is going to go away. She'll be fine. She'll eventually recover. But, we're going to make things much more difficult for ourselves. And the more the Earth heals, the more the people heal. But the Earth ain't going to heal until the people start healing. And that's kind of where I feel duty drawn, if you could call it that. Like, I feel like my duty is to influence in whatever way I can to help the people heal, so then we can heal the planet
because
in a way.
we are one with the Earth is our mother. And that's also, that came through the meditation as to why this innate love energy had chosen human expression, like sent me here, not me only, but humans, to express on Earth, because they could see that the Earth needed help. The Earth, the humans, the Mother Earth that we are hurting, it all needs help and needs to be healed through love. What I find is really fascinating is how we are starting to, I mean, we are, say a person is an engine, and you always look after your engine, but we have never given thought to our spiritual engine. So we're always looking after our